Alrighty. Who
Done.
let the dogs out? The Bulldogs. First 5 rounds, the Dragons away. Round 1. Round 2, the Titans at home. Round 3, the Eels away. Round 4, the Sharks away. Round 5, the Knights at home. Again, points are on the screen. Make sure you go ahead and look at those on YouTube, and we'll cover those as we go. For the hookers, for the Bulldogs, Jake Turpin, 232K. You almost forget that they've got Jake Turpin on the books. He's just sort of been there. And Reed Marnie, 562K. We've got a question there. Is it Marnie time? I'm still scarred from, 2 years ago, where he just absolutely scarred so many Supercoaches that got on him at a high price and just went downhill from literally that week that everyone got on. So for me, no, the answer is no to that question. What about you boys? What do you think? Marnie time?
No, not for me at 562. I know I think Trav had him last year for a good chunk and then sort of got, a bit over it by the end. I don't want to do it with hooker. I hate it. I don't want to go down that route again. I just want to go, look, if it's going to be anyone at that similar price, it's going to be Brayley. And I'm just going to ride the safety net of it out and not have to worry about this little hot head potentially getting suspended or punching someone or missing 1,000 tackles or whatever it is, because he's definitely got it to him. I don't want to humor it. I really don't. I don't want the headache anymore.
It's
Just
a lot.
leave it.
Trav, as a Reed past owner, as recent as last year, is it Marnie time?
No, it's not money time, but I think there is improvement in him, and I reckon the finals series, that finals game, I think he's had a big preseason to reflect on it, and I think he's a very important piece of that Bulldogs puzzle. He's just a very consistent player. He's a good hooker. He fits into that role. He fits into that system really well. Hopefully, the finals series he's learned from that, because he'll get better. I was a Marnie owner last year. I was pretty happy to have Marnie. Had him for most of the year. Actually, I think I had him I didn't have him all of the year, but I had him for at least 75% of it. And there was a big chunk of from the middle to almost the third quarter of the year, I sort of had enough of him, where he went 25, 39, 41, 23, 30, 45. And I just went, no. And I just kept getting it. And I kept thinking, with the run, with who they were playing, it was just annoying me. I just don't want to do that again. I want to save that 50,000. At this point in time, the way that I've built my team, every single $1,000 I've got is really important. And I can drop that down to Brayley and probably get more points than him. I'm pretty happy with Brayley.
Yep, spot on. Front row forwards for the Bulldogs. Fanifo, Seve, 198K. Ryan Sutton has 2RF dual, 232K. Back from a big injury last year. He didn't get to play a game. Daniel Saluf Fafita, 232K. Tom Amone, 232K. Geez, a few 232Ks in there. Sam Hughes, 355K. I know there's a panel member here that's in the Sam Hughes camp at the moment. Josh Curran, 546K. And Maxi King, 565K. Trav, talk to us about front row forward and who is sticking out to you.
I was a bit of I think there's improvement in Sam Hughes, but I haven't got him in my team. But there's definitely improvement on it. I think he's going to be a solid option at that mid 300,000 with more minutes on offer. I think I read that he's looking at. I think they're going to start him. I think I read something around that he's going to be started. So I think that's really nice. He's going to be a big watch list for me, just based off the way that I need to figure out rookies and things. I'm not really interested in anyone else. Josh Curran's got his dual at 546, is always someone we think about. He did his job for us all, for a lot of us last year, but I'm not going to start with him. I'll watch him. I've put the star on him. And yeah, that's it for me for the Bulldogs.
Perfect. Jesse.
Yep. Look, I don't think there's a great deal of cash upside in any of them. If Sam Hughes does get the run, gets some more minutes than he was last season, he might bump up to that mid-40s sort of average. But again, I'm not, too keen on it this time around. Curran was fantastic. The duel's nice. I think it's pretty much what he'll do. That 55-60 is kind of where he was, peaking through last year. And the same as Max King at 565. I'm not going to spend that much money on a front rower if it's not May or Tino. So I just think these kind of guys, they just sort of fall away a little bit where the other guys with the higher upside and, a bit more potential sort of fit into. But they're both great, especially like King and Curran. I think for your draft side of things, really, really reliable, really solid. Going to be very appealing for a lot of people out there. But I just don't see it. I'm not really looking at either of them or any of the three actually.
All right, news alert quickly for you. I actually have Josh Curran in my team at the moment. I've thought about it and just think early on, just while there's not much attack going on, things like that, if I can get that 55-60 out of him at the start regularly, I'm happy with that. Look, it's not concrete in, just someone for now that just seemed to fit. I went Yo for the same sort of feeling, and if I can get someone about that mid 500 mark who can get me those sorts of points on a week-to-week basis and I don't have to stress about it early, then I'm happy. So for now, he's in my team, but that can quickly change. Normally does change after these podcasts and our teams change completely. But for mine, that's the reason why I've got him. And that dual factor just allows a little bit more flexibility as well.
Yeah, Curran's always super reliable, man. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah. I still think there's still a middle at the moment because Leo Thompson's there next year. There's still got some issues in that middle as well. So I think he'll get some good minutes as well. 2RF, Patrick Young, Jack Todd, Jack Spinks. Logan Spinks, Alatini. They're all low price. Don't need to worry about him. Ryan Sutton, we've already spoken about him. Katonga, yep. Popeye, Curtis Morin, 299k. Bailey Hayward, 300k. Kurt Mann, 416. Jamin Semen is just 2RF exclusive, 422. New signing, Satili Tupanua comes over, 2RF, 425. Viliami Kikau, 523. Currans with the duel. And Jacob Preston, 609k. Jesse, what are you thinking?
I love Preston. I am seeing a whole lot of nothing throughout the rest of it for me personally. And I just like Preston's the guy. He's a gun. I really wish I got more of a chance in my side last year. I brought him in. Actually, I think we brought him in together, same round, and then he got injured 2 rounds later, and it was really disappointing because I was really excited to have him in my team, and I still would be, to be fair. Like I really like Preston. I think his attack is great. He can run a line. He's solid. And the same, like I want more out of Kickow for the Dogs, just in general. I think he's sort of just been plodding along, kind of not doing what they really want from him. Maybe been too much of a decoy or whatever it is. Expecting a bit more out of him. We saw all the other guys. There's a lot of low 30s. There's a lot of low 40s for, Mann, Salmon, Morin, Hayward. They're not options. Tupanua probably plays a bit more through the middle. And takes a bit of load off maybe like a Sam Hughes or something. He might be playing through there, or even Curran. You could swap him. He can play at prop if he's going to start at a lock spot, and then Tupanua comes in too. So he might get a duel at some point, which could be decent enough if he is cheap. So something to keep an eye on for Tupanua. But I did get torched by him a bit last year, and I kind of don't want to go back there again. So honestly, it's just for appeal, for viability, Preston and Curran. Even Kickout's a bit too volatile. So yeah, Preston and Curran, I like them both. I really, really like Preston. I think another one of those guys that sort of gets underappreciated a little bit.
Yeah. Trav?
Yeah, good shout out for Preston. I guess the question for Preston is his score inflated because he scored the 3 scores above 100, or is his score not as good because of the two very low minute games where he had 31 minutes and scored 24 against Penrith, and had 49 minutes and scored 29? And is his average, should it be better for if we fix off those low minute games and those low scores? That's an interesting question, and depends on which way you are, half glass full type of person. So yeah, I'm pretty keen on it, Preston. I'm confident I won't start with him, but I wouldn't mind seeing what happens. They've got a really good draw to start off with, and I think he can do really well against them. Look, the Titans pack is gonna be tough for him. But I still think he plays for the Bulldogs, and as a powerhouse team that I think the Bulldogs are going to be moving forward, I think that can be nullified. Then he's got Eels. I think Sharks are vulnerable defensively a little bit against guys like Preston. Then he's got the Knights. So like he's got a pretty good run to start with. So he's definitely something I'm watching with a very keen eye at 609K.
Yep. I can't echo anything else that you guys have said enough. I think it's sort of the top two options there, and that's really it for me. Halfback, the young gun Mitch Woods. Is it finally his time to shine for this Bulldogs team at some point throughout the year? Supercoach will be eagerly awaiting this one because obviously at bottom dollar, he'll be probably straight into a lot of teams, saving a little bit of money and trying to make moves elsewhere by the time he does get a bit of a run. Joseph O'Neill, Drew Hutchinson, 412K, and Toby Sexton, 481K. Apart from, I guess, what I just said about Mitch Woods, if he does get that chance to play, the other guys for mine, no options whatsoever, no interest. Anything to add?
I had no interest.
No bueno. Not this time around. Sorry, Drew.
No, thank you. Mr. Fix-It. He's gone away quickly, hasn't he? Carl for the 5'8", Carl Oloapu, I believe. Well, there was rumors like last week he was going to the Dolphins, but I don't know what's happened there. But rumors that he was up there, and pretty much contracts are all getting signed, things like that. But 232K. Matty Burton, 648K. What are we thinking for Matt Burton? Average 66.3. You see there on the screen. We can probably talk about it at the end, but only 4 players averaged over 60 plus in 2024. He was one of those. So if you're looking at upside players, he's probably one of the few at the Dogs that have got a bit of upside. What are our thoughts?
Trav, I'll let you take this one.
He's too expensive for 5'8" for me. I do like him. He's a good player. He's certainly someone even last year where I was even trying to sell Jesse to get him at a couple of points in time where there was a serious conversation around getting him. He was a good option because he finished off the year really well with those after round 20, he scored 370s, 250s, and 350s and 100. So like he finished off really well. The Bulldogs are going to get better. I think he gets better. I do. 1 or 2 points. He kicks as well for him. He's a gun, 60, but I don't have 648 that I want to spend on that just yet. I think Dearden's going to take his game to another level, and I've invested there instead, who's a fair bit cheaper than that. So, I don't hate the pick at all for people. I think there's some good upside. To me, you just can't have all these guns. You just can't. You've got to find someone that's 50 grand cheaper, 100 grand cheaper here, there, and this is one of those spots I think we can do that.
Jesse?
Yeah, if I'm going to go cheaper anywhere, it tends to really be that 5'8" spot. I don't really, really like spending massive money unless I'm certain these guys are going to be, fantastic out of it. He's 2K cheaper than Dylan Brown, and Dylan Brown has a dual. A bit more consistency about him. He might not have the potential upside of a Burton, but it's the floor of Burton that scares me off him more than anything else. It wasn't that long ago where Burton was popping 20s out, and you're just like, oh god, it's really low. Again, the Dogs are a different outfit then too, so I think he does get better too. But like for a bit less, I really like Galvin. I really like Munster. I really like, there's a few guys down, even in the 400s, in the 5'8s that are quite appealing. So that's kind of where I'm a little bit turned off by, 650 odd. I think it's just a bit dear in a 5'8 spot for just, it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary spending when, you're already trying to fit in so many other guns. I don't think Burton really has the mold of these other big dogs. So not for me, but like he's definitely a good play for some people out there. It's just there's so much money to spend early days.
I was going to say it's often with him as well. It's your time to run, but as you've both rightly said, it's actually a nice start for the Bulldogs as well. It's just that at the same time there, we've seen in the past points at a premium, and do you full on in trust that he can get that and cover his sort of average? I'm not too sure, but I don't absolutely hate it at all. So Centre wings get to so Inari Tuala, new signing from the Knights, 366k. Harry Hayes, 369k. Marcelo Montoya, new signing from the Warriors, 408. Blake Wilson, 459. I thought he was a shoo-in for this wing spot, but maybe not now with the signings. Stephen Crichton, 517. Bronson Sherry, 523. Connor Tracy, fullback dual, 587. King Carraz, 702. Come on down. Trav, can King Carraz become the number one centre wing in the game at the end of 2025?
Yes, because I don't think Valentine Holmes is going to average 80. I don't think Lomax has got 79, as we've already spoken about. I think Carraz has got 5 or 6 more points in a team that's going to get even better. He is and will be the number one centre wing. I don't even actually, to be honest, I don't even think that's a bold call. I think that's actually a pretty educated and good call. Yeah, I can just foresee that. And just quickly, I don't see anyone else in the centre wings as an interest to me at all.
Yep. Jesse.
Yeah, look, the Dogs aren't a massive Supercoach scoring team. They don't have big players. You know, they've got a handful of guns, and the side himself are a very good machine, but they don't have massive scorers. And Carraz is the one that is. Like 74.1 on the wing last year, which is expected to be his position for this year, and with a 73.6 at centre. So not even that much of a drop. Like, he's just a freak of nature, really. His base pretty much over 50, 55 in base with the center spot too. He runs, he tackle busts. Like, there's nothing he can't do. The only thing that could make him better, which isn't going to happen, is if he started kicking. And then I think I would pay whatever price they decided to put on him if there's like Carraz is a goal kicker now. I was like, give me, I'll pay $1 million for him. I'll pay $1 million comfortably. Like, it would just be the best thing ever. So he's he's the best Supercoach player in that side by far. I've had him in almost a good majority of the teams that I've made up. He's been my premium center wing, and at the moment I am looking more in the Garrick route with the whole wing side and the goal kicking as well. He's probably the only guy that I think that can rival Carraz, and that's because he kicks. I just think that just that alone is insane of a stat. The fact that he can keep up with Lomax, who scored all those tries and kicked, Valentine Holmes did the exact same, and Garrick. And all he's doing is just playing on the wing and playing through the centers. Like, it's just insane. So yeah, he's definitely a set and forget. I think he's a freak. I think he gets better as well. Can't speak highly enough of him. So every chance he is up there, number one. I'd love to see it.
It's funny. Every single team I've made so far, he's literally one of the first players I pick, and I make sure I have my team based around him. Like, he's just in there no matter what. So set and forget for me as well. The number one spot, can definitely see him finishing the year with that number one next to his name in the CTW. The fact that he's pretty much locked in to play the wing through the whole year as well is great for me, and makes him even more appealing. I just can't say he's one of the ones that I would say definitely pay and confidently pay $702K for to start the year.
Yeah. Well, he bases over 50 without anything. Yeah. So, it's only going to get better. And he always gets the attacking stats, always. So it's such a safe $700K to spend. It's crazy to say. Yeah.
See, 12. See, it'll improve, but just on his tries. He got 12 tries last year. I think that goes up to I think that's pretty comfortable. I think I can comfortably say he'll get about 15. I think they'll offensively get better. Yeah, I mean, he runs. He's added a bit of a kicking game to him, so there's a little bit in that for it. He had 1 try assist last year. He had 18 line breaks, 633 receipts. That's a lot of running in a season. On 186 tackle made. So he's tackling well, and he doesn't miss them at 85%. He had 4,727 total run meters at 189. He's improved that from 128, 164, 189. I think that can be comfortably, that's top O level. He'll get to top O level, averaging over 200 this year coming. He went from 159 kick meters to 109 kick meters to 511 kick meters. So there's, make that a 10 meter run, and there's another there's another point or two. Like it's, he's got improvement in him, and I felt like he did that with ease this year, like last season. Like it just felt like he just did it without really having to try. But he does, and he tries his guts out, and he's constantly on the run, and he's always there. And he's just got to find another nous, that little bit of nous to get a few more tries, and he's next level. Yeah, he will be number one for me, and I think you've got to find a way to start him. At the moment, I went Carraz down to Garrick, and very easily can push him back up.
Yeah, I'm going to find it very hard to not start with Carraz, to be honest. I didn't last year, and it sucks not having him because I sung his praises all preseason too. And kind of missed out on all the glory at the beginning. So yeah, and no Addo-Carr as well. You'd have to imagine that that he does get a bit more focus, a lot targeted down the right side. So yeah, it's all making sense, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trav, a quick one for you. It's just quickly popped up in my head. Would you rather prioritize having Pappy in your team or Carraz?
I would prioritize Carraz in my team over Pappy, and that's funny to say because I've just put Pappy in as a third play as a fullback. But I prioritize Carraz as a center winger over Pappy.
Well, that's what I was sort of trying to go to. Would it be worth for you to go back to Iongi and then move so you can have both Garrick and Carraz to start the year, and that's almost finger licking good.
It is.
Jesse, who would you go, Pappy or Carraz? Who would you prioritize?
I would go Carraz. I'd go Carraz personally as well. Just because the option of Iongi is there, we don't really have that 230 potential cash grab to grab in the center spot, even just as a flex in general. But look, what he can do in a base, he averaged more than Pap did in general anyway. I just go Carraz. I like it.
Carraz, come on, imagine that. How good's that look now after this podcast? Garrick and Carraz in your CTWs to start the year. That looks sensational.
No, I just played with it. I just put Pappenhausen in the fullback and then dropped Garrick to try and get Carraz, and I'm 9K short. So there's a little bit of playing around. I can try and find a way to get Carraz in there instead of Garrick.
That's easy enough.
That's easy. And that might be for the Legends group there. They might be able to see an updated version of that team tomorrow. So make sure you do subscribe if you can for that $2.99 a month. Last one, the fullback. We've mentioned Connor Tracy, not really an option for us with that duel. Blake Taff is 386K. Seemed to be out of favor now. I think Connor Tracy has established himself as that number one choice for now. Perhaps they might be able to look for a junior coming through or sign someone if they want to get to that next level. No disrespect there, but for mine, neither are an option moving forward.
No.
Tracy's locked that spot in, rightfully so, but not going that way. Not for 587 either. The center wing's nice, but I'm not buying him in.
I just don't see him on that list getting too much better. I think that's where he is. That's what you get. The way that they play on that list with what they have, that's about him, and you can't have that as a fullback.
Yeah.
So a couple of questions to get to, which we will, but just quickly the final point that we've got here. So the defensive juggernaut, do we think it continues for the Bulldogs, which then impacts pretty much any team that's versing them on a week-to-week basis, and that only 4-player average over 60 plus in 2024? Do you think that will improve? Jesse?
I think the defensive juggernaut gets better. Now that the foundations are set in, I think Serrato's got what he wants out of him and they kind of know what to play. I think the league kind of has a bit more of an idea around the Dogs and might be able to combat it a bit better though. So it might, go another way. But I just think they know what they're doing now. They're solid. at the same time, I don't think their Supercoach scores get super relevant again in general. I think they're more prioritizing playing defensive, solid brands of football than they are about appeasing the super coaches of the world. Karaz does that in his own, so there's not much else to worry about. So yeah, I think they do get solid, more so solid defensively, and I don't think there's other options to increase in Supercoach. We just went through that entire side, and there was really very, very few that stood out to us that weren't already averaging over 60 in general.
Yeah.
I can't see anyone else lifting.
Yeah. I've seen a few teams that have Crichton in their team. Crichton is the number one center in the competition, right? In my opinion, he's the best center in the competition, but he's not a super coach player. So this is one of those chats around, are they, just because they're a good player doesn't relate to stats and what happens as a super coach player, and he's not one of them. So I just don't recommend you put him in that team. I think he might improve, but will he get to 60? No. I think probably at this point in time, maybe Curran's the only one that I think can get above 60. But I don't think Tracy's going to average 60 again. So I think that kind of drops and just averages itself out. This is not a team that's built for super coach, as Jesse said. There's 2 or 3 players. Karaz, Preston, Burton are within the super coach picture, but they're not a super coach team. They don't play like that. And it's fun to watch, though, isn't it? It's still a really fun, enjoyable game to watch them. But yeah, so I also think what the key to this is Serraldo and that team needs to figure out. He knows that the competition's just gone and watched 6 months worth of off season on the Bulldogs. So how else can they adapt? And that's the key, right? And I think they can. I think they do. I think I've got them as my second on the ladder. I think they get better.
Wow.
Second.
Look at that.
Yep,
That's huge.
The Dogs are coming second.
Yep, got them second.
Holy moly.
You've got rocks in your head.
You got a free shirt coming your way, my friend.
That's huge. Hey, you've given a few spoilers out tonight, Trav. You got to start learning this game a bit. But spoiler alert, there you go for Trav's ladder prediction. You've no second spot already. Doggies fans are happy. So that'll be it for it. We'll go on to the questions. Just finally, one more plug for it. Legends Group. If you want to let us know any of your feedback and you don't want to message through YouTube or the podcast, message us through there. Happy to listen and answer any questions you have further to anything you've heard tonight. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube if you are watching from there. It goes a long way to help supporting us as we've experienced lately. And there is an option to become a member there, a membership. There's a few different tiers and stuff like that. Get the video early, support us. All this is just help support us a bit further. All the time and effort that does go into things we do very much appreciate.